Before we dive into heart-pounding dog stories, please subscribe my channel. Many people watch videos without subscribing. Your one subscribe help me to create story like this, and hit bell icon for more stories like this. A routine school visit turned into a nightmare when a K9 dog refused to back down and started barking at a teacher. What he sensed in the classroom uncovered a secret that shocked the entire town. It started like any other Tuesday morning at Lincoln High School until a police K9 unit stepped into room 204 and chaos followed. Officer Ryan barely had time to greet the class when his partner Thor, a seasoned German Shepherd, stiffened. In a heartbeat, Thor lunged forward, snarling, his bark exploding through the quiet classroom, his focus. Mr. Dalton, the soft-spoken English teacher, standing calmly by the whiteboard. Students gasped, chairs scraped. Dalton froze, eyes wide. Thor, heel. Ryan barked, tugging the leash, but the dog wouldn't budge. Thor's hackles were raised, his body a wall between the teacher and the kids. No one could understand what was happening. But Thor had already sensed the truth. Officer Ryan Hayes had worked with K9 units for over a decade. But Thor was different. Loyal, disciplined, and smart beyond measure. The German Shepherd had saved lives on patrol, sniffed out narcotics, and even comforted victims during school outreach programs. That morning, Ryan and Thor were visiting Lincoln High School as part of a Student Safety Week. A friendly presentation about police dogs, nothing more. Ryan had met dozens of teachers over the years, but something about Dalton's stillness stood out that morning. Something in his eyes, perhaps, though Ryan couldn't put his finger on it. Thor had never misread a person. And yet, here they were, seconds from what was supposed to be a calm demonstration, unaware that a storm was already building behind Thor's quiet growl. Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe and tell me in the comments where you're watching from. The classroom buzzed with curiosity as Officer Ryan clipped Thor's leash to his belt and began the demonstration. "This is Thor," he said with a smile. "He's trained to detect drugs, explosives, and danger before we do." The students leaned in, fascinated. Some even reaching for their phones to sneak photos. Thor, usually calm and collected during these presentations, stood rigid, ears up, body tense. Then it happened. Without warning, Thor let out a sharp bark. Then another, louder, deeper. He yanked against his leash, lunging toward the front of the class, his focus locked on Mr. Dalton. The teacher froze mid-sentence. "Easy, boy," he said nervously, raising his hand slightly. Ryan frowned. "Thor, down." But the dog didn't listen. Instead, Thor moved in front of a few nearby students, placing himself squarely between them and the teacher. His bark turned into a snarl, low and guttural, unlike anything Ryan had heard during a school visit. Students sat in stunned silence. Some laughed awkwardly, assuming it was part of the act, but others began whispering. Mr. Dalton's smile had vanished. A sheen of sweat glistened on his forehead. The classroom door opened. A staff member peered in, alarmed by the noise. Ryan apologized quickly and pulled Thor out, who resisted until they were in the hallway. Out there, with the door closed, Thor continued to bark toward the classroom. Something about that man, that room. Thor was trying to warn them, and Ryan couldn't ignore it any longer. That night, Ryan couldn't sleep. He sat on the edge of his bed, still in uniform, while Thor paced the floor restlessly. The dog would sniff at Ryan's pant leg where Mr. Dalton had stood and whine, then circle the room. It wasn't nerves, it was instinct. Thor knew something, and Ryan had learned long ago to trust that instinct. He opened his laptop and started searching. A quick online check showed nothing unusual. Mr. Dalton had taught at Lincoln High for 3 years, held a clean record, and had glowing reviews from students and parents alike. Still, something didn't sit right. Teachers don't usually make trained K9s lose control. Ryan made a few calls. A contact in the department owed him a favor. With some digging, they uncovered something strange. Dalton had no digital footprint before 5 years ago. No college photos, no work history, nothing. Just blank. Eventually, Ryan got a name, Daniel Dawes. A legal name change filed quietly in a different state not long before he moved to town. Ryan's heart sank. He reached out to another friend, Sarah, a cybersecurity specialist, and asked her to look deeper. "If this guy's hiding something," Ryan said. "Thor already knows. I need you to confirm it." Later that night, Sarah called back. "Ryan, you're not going to like this." She sent over a sealed report. Years ago, Daniel Dawes had been questioned in a missing persons case. A teenage girl vanished. Charges were dropped. Case went cold. But Thor remembered something everyone else forgot. Ryan sat frozen. The glow of the laptop screen casting sharp shadows across his face. The case file Sarah had dug up was old, 10 years, but Thor had been trained on it during his early days. Ryan remembered the name now. Lily Mason, 17, vanished from her neighborhood after school. The case had rattled the community. Her backpack was found, but no body. Thor had sniffed that backpack during the search. And now, years later, Thor was barking at a man once questioned in that very case. Could it be coincidence? Ryan didn't think so. With Sarah's help, he tracked Dawes' address. It was a modest rental house, not far from the school. Ryan didn't have a warrant, but he wasn't going to wait. He drove by late that night, parking across the street. Thor sat beside him in the patrol vehicle, ears alert. "Let's see what you feel," Ryan whispered, snapping on Thor's leash. They walked past the house casually, like a late-night patrol. As they reached the driveway, Thor slowed, then stiffened. He growled low and primal. His nose pointed toward the side entrance. Ryan followed, adrenaline spiking. When they neared the basement window, Thor went wild, scratching, whining, barking. Ryan pulled him back just as a light flicked on inside. A shadow moved past the curtains. Ryan didn't wait. By morning, he had alerted the department and filed for an emergency warrant. When they returned hours later with officers and a search team, Thor led them straight to the basement door. Inside, behind a false wall, they found a sealed box. Inside it were photos, notes, and clothing. Evidence from Lily Mason's disappearance. The room went silent. Thor sat still and watchful as if saying, "I told you so," and now there was no denying it. The arrest happened quietly before sunrise. Officers surrounded the house, knocking just once before forcing entry. Mr. Dalton, or rather Daniel Dawes, stood frozen in the hallway, wearing the same calm expression he wore in class. But this time, there was no hiding. Ryan stepped forward, badge in hand, Thor by his side. The German shepherd growled softly, eyes locked on the man who'd fooled an entire town. "You're under arrest for obstruction of justice and suspicion in the disappearance of Lily Mason," Ryan said, cuffing him. Dawes didn't speak. His silence echoed louder than any denial. Back at the station, forensic teams confirmed it. The box contained items directly tied to Lily's case, DNA on the clothing, handwritten notes matching Dawes' handwriting, photos of Lily no one had ever seen before. In a chilling twist, investigators now believed Dawes had returned to teaching under a new identity to relive control. Proximity to young lives gave him power, comfort. But it was Thor, a dog, who saw past the mask. Later, the department honored Thor for his instinct and bravery. Ryan gave him a proud scratch behind the ears. "You saved them," he whispered. "You saved them all. If this happened in your town, would you trust the dog's instinct or wait for proof? Let me know in the comments below."